Caption Close Mosul, Iraq, AP. The morgue in the northern Iraqi city of Mosul was where atrocity met bureaucracy. Here was the processing point for the victims of the machine of butchery that the Islamic State group created during nearly 3 years of rule in large parts of Iraq and Syria. Every day, the doctors and staff witnessed the worst of what the militants were capable of inflicting on human beings, constantly fearing they could be next. Yet the morgue men of Mosul found ways large and small to defy their captors by honoring the dead as best they could. Some days, up to 100 bodies would stream into the facility. They included the mangled casualties of bombardment or fighting between the militants and the U.S.-led coalition and Iraqi forces. Others had suffered the grotesque punishments that is dealt out to those it considered criminals. The records kept by the morgue contain monstrous details. One Excel sheet documents more than 1,200 people who were shot in the head, a likely sign of his executions, between June 2014 and January 2017, a period covering most of his rule. That's an average of 11 a week. Among them were 16 boys and 6 girls under the age of 14. It notes 12 women stoned to death, the punishment for those suspected of illicit sex. It also lists 95 people who were beheaded and 50 men and boys who died from a fall from a height, likely hurled from rooftops, the sentence for those suspected of being gay. In general, it was forbidden to return these victims' bodies to their families. Instead, they disappeared into mass graves. The records are not complete, and thousands are known to have been thrown directly into mass graves without ever coming to the morgue. Here is a look at some of the men of Mosul's morgue and how they tried to keep hold of their humanity amid relentless brutality. Rescued from mass graves. Raid Jassim, the chief medical assistant at the morgue, arranged the meeting in a parking garage at night. "You brought her?" the businessman asked. "Yes," Jassim replied. The man broke into tears and hugged him in gratitude. Jassim then opened his car's trunk so they could pull out the body of the man's wife. Jassim and other staffers tried to do this whenever they could, sneaking bodies out of the morgue to return them to their families and keep them out of mass graves. They had to do it secretly, cutting off electricity to turn off the morgue security cameras. In this case, the woman had been killed on accusations of spying. The 48-year-old Jassim recounted how his fighters slaughtered 2 captives right in front of the morgue staff, decapitating one and shooting the others. Jassim himself was given 30 lashes for smoking, a crime under IS, and he was severely beaten after he refused to forge a death certificate for a fighter. In 2005, Jassim had been overjoyed to get a government posting at the morgue. The pay was several times more than what he'd earn in a government hospital. He was a graduate of a medical institute, a 2-year diploma after high school, and had gone on to serve as an army nurse. But now he has been left scarred, unable to sleep without taking several Valium every night.